Goldberg?
Yeah, Rabbi Goldberg.
Rabbi Goldberg. Yeah, I had a quick question, and correct me if I'm wrong, but look, like, maybe it's a two-part question. Like, do you, one, believe in the concept of the Messiah? And that's a yes?
No, I'm waiting for the other
Okay. And two, in Daniel chapter 9, like 24 to 27, what's the proper way to understand that portion of Scripture when it seems to, prophetically seems to give a window of time that the Messiah has to, manifest himself on the earth between the destruction of the first temple and or in the second temple and whatnot, and the decree of Cyrus and so on and so forth.
To the first question with regards to belief in the Messiah, yes, Judaism has a belief in the Messiah. There will come a time when there'll be no more wars, no more hatred, no more hunger, that humankind will either evolve from its present state or be changed from its present state. And within Jewish tradition, it is a spectrum of belief from a personal single individual who is coming as an agent of God, invested by God with powers to change human beings, or a messianic age that comes about through a process of enlightenment. So Jews have a belief in the Messiah, absolutely. It started with the Jews, going back to King David and to various proverbs and the prophets. The difference between Judaism and Christianity is that wherein Christianity is waiting for the second coming to bring about that time, this is what Jews are waiting for in the first coming. That this is what happens when the Messiah comes. Our rabbis teach us if you are planting a tree and you hear that the Messiah has come, finish planting the tree and then go see what's up. Because if it is the Messiah, it doesn't matter. God is intervening in some fashion into the natural order of events and human life, and the world will be changed. And that will happen. And so that's what Jews are waiting for. So Jews and Judaism, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to the Christians present. I understand entirely the Christian belief, but we do not believe that the Messiah has come. We are still waiting for that time. And the evidence for us is that there is no peace. There is still hunger. The world already produces enough food to feed every human life on this planet. Why is anyone starving? And so we have not learned the lesson. And as for Daniel, Daniel for us and within Jewish tradition, Daniel is a confusing book. Daniel is a confusing book because on the one hand, he seems to be speaking in metaphor. On the other hand, he seems to be speaking literally. And it is hard for our rabbis to fully understand which is which. And Daniel did not say, by the way, this is a parable. This is metaphor. Oh, by the way, I'm being serious. Take this literally. And so, without going into the Aramaic scriptures of the book of Daniel to read it in its original, I am not able to comment specifically on those verses. However, much of the book of Daniel is speaking about a time of great trial and tribulation, and the awakening to which Daniel seems to be referring to is in many times with regards to humankind waking up to the ultimate reality that there is one God and that all of human beings are related. To put it in contemporary terms, I can donate my heart to a total stranger. I can donate my blood, I do, regularly, to a total stranger. The essence of my physical life, I can give to a total stranger, which proves how truly close and related we are. And so for Daniel, living at a time of tremendous hate, tremendous persecution, tremendous violence of human beings, one against the other, his message of waking up to this reality is one that we I fully understand. But again, I'd have to go to the Aramaic, and we'd have to get involved in translations and definitions, and perhaps another time.
I had one quick question too. If you didn't have like a sufficient knowledge or understanding of Daniel chapter 9 without looking at the Aramaic, so as far as you could give a commentary right now, could you consider the possibility that maybe in that portion of scripture which you haven't diligently studied enough, that there's indication that the Messiah has already come?
No, because the definition of what the Messiah is supposed to do, according to Judaism, for almost 1,000 years before Jesus, the Messiah is to bring peace. There was no peace in Daniel's time. There is no peace now. That fundamental difference. The Messiah is supposed to bring in all of the Israelites to Israel, where they will live in autonomy, self-rule. That wasn't existent in Daniel's time, and it's still not existent in today's time. So, no, and it's not a matter of not having studied it. I was ordained in 91. That was the last time I looked, 1990, with Professor James, anyway, Professor Jim. Was the last time I studied Daniel. So it's not a matter of lack of study. It's a matter of I do agree to this, and I think we have to understand this as I began my comments. Words can be understood differently. I do not doubt that your understanding and your religious tradition's understanding of the book of Daniel is exactly as you put it. I support you, but will you support me in the belief that Judaism has a different approach to that? And that's what this is all about. Judaism does read Daniel differently than what Christianity does. Even the verses our friend here, I do apologize, Edward, spoke about. Judaism sees them differently. We saw them differently 2,000 years ago. We see them differently now. And the challenge is can we understand that each of us can have a different understanding of these sacred texts?
Who's wrong though?
It's not a matter of right or wrong. It's not a matter of right or wrong. It's a matter of difference. It's absolutely right for Christians to believe that. It is absolutely right for Jews to believe the way that I do.
Aren't they mutually exclusive concepts? Won't they contradict each other? It's illogical to have two contradictory ideas.
Not within each faith system. They are not. They are not self-contradictory within your faith system. They're only contradictory when you try to force these two different faiths together to say, oh, you have to believe it this way. Well, no, I don't, and no, you don't. I don't want you to believe differently. I want you to accept your scripture as your religious tradition has taught you. Please allow me to say right.
Okay, we have one more.